The Rust console PvP experience is about to change in a massive way. You heard me right, the PvP experience for Rust is getting a full makeover, and what we're going to be talking about today is Recoil and how it is going to be changing for the console version of Rust. But before we get into that, if you hit the subscribe button, it's going to make me really happy. I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers, and I'd really like it if you help me out. That's all, there's no gimmick here. Anyways, let's get into the video because I don't want to waste your time. So here is what was announced on the Rust console Discord. I'm just going to be reading the statement and then we're going to go over it. Hey everyone, the Recoil changes with 1.07 are a precursor to further gunplay changes that are going to be tested on the staging branch. So for now, they will remain in-game. They will be adjusted in the future based on players' feedback. If you want to share your opinion about them, please submit it to #feedback. If you're experiencing no recoil at all, this might be a bug and the team is investigating the issue. So that was a short statement, but it actually made a huge announcement. Those of you who have been basically paying for cheats or learning recoil, you're gonna have to get used to something else. It seems like the recoil experience is going to change. Right now, what you were getting on the console version of Rust previous to patch 1.07 was the PC version of Recoil. This was done on the PC to make the game harder, to make it have a bigger skill gap, and to make it harder for people to cheat. On the console version of Rust, it's a little bit different. People don't cheat in the same ways, and the developers don't need the same recoil pattern that they had in the PC version of Rust. In addition to this, it's going to make it a lot easier for new players to get into the game. Right now, one of the problems that a lot of players run into is they get into Rust, they get the best gun in the game, the AK or the MP5, depending on how you want to play the game, and they start shooting and their shots just go all over. It happens to me too. And like some sort of preschooler at a urinal, it's a complete mess and the janitor gets really upset. And in this case, the janitor is the person playing the game. It just sucks, right? Like, you got the best gun in the game, you should feel all powerful, but instead you feel like some sort of kindergartner that's getting his ass kicked by a polar bear. It is ridiculous. And what they've done here is they've changed recoil, so it's a lot easier for people to handle. It means now when people come into the game, they're going to get that experience that they want with the AK or with the MP5. A lot of players have said what this is going to do is it's going to completely diminish the skill gap, and now everybody's going to be equal. But I don't think this is the case. What this is going to do is going to put a focus back on the way that you play the game, playing it strategically, coming up with traps, getting the jump on someone, rather than just memorizing a pattern and spending thousands of hours doing it. I personally really do enjoy this change. I don't have all the time in the world. I don't have the time to memorize recoil patterns. I don't have the time to mess around with some controller and figure out how to move it in the perfect way to get a gun to shoot straight. I like the fact that the gun's going to shoot straight, and what it comes down to is strategic gameplay. For me and a lot of other players, this is going to be a huge improvement to the game. For a lot of players, though, this really does suck, and I do feel for them. If you put a lot of time into learning recoil and all of a sudden it just goes away, that sucks because you learned something to get the edge, you spent the time, and now you're just sort of starting from scratch. But hopefully in the time that you spent learning recoil, you learned a bit about strategy, positioning, and how to get the jump on other players, and I think that is going to become way more important than just learning some sort of pattern to follow when you're shooting. And honestly, in my opinion, I love it. I love the fact that the console developers have split right now from the PC version of Rust, and they've said, hey, this is not the path we want to take. We're going to be taking this path instead, or at least we're going to be trying it and seeing what the player base thinks. I love the fact that they're willing to take those like big balls moves and actually like do something that isn't just laid in stone. They're not following the path that was set out by the PC. They're trying something a little bit different. I know a lot of you are saying they tried something a little bit different when they decided to not release anything for 6 months and make the beta more impressive than the launch, but that was, I don't think that was an attempt to try something different. I think that was just a massive fuck up. But this is actually an attempt to try something different. This is an attempt to take the game in a slightly different direction than the PC version of the game has gone. And I think the reason they're doing it is correct. It's harder to cheat on the console. There are people who cheat. There are ways to cheat. I'm not going to talk about them here, but they do exist. But they're a little bit harder. They're a little bit more expensive to do than if you're doing them on the PC. And I think overall, they made the right decision. I think reducing recoil, making it easier to fight, making it easier to PvP, making it easier to learn the skills required to shoot a gun straight and focus more on strategy is the proper direction to go. But I'm not going to waste your time with this video because that's my thoughts on it. Let me know down below in the comments what you think, but more importantly, jump into the Rust Discord and let devs know what you think, because they're the ones that are ultimately going to be deciding if these changes are here to stay or if they should be reverting them. Thank you so much for watching. And like I said, I'm not going to drag this one out. So until next time, peace.